Okie dokie, I believe I see a bad moon rising because we are all the way live only on Grande's Graveyard. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am very excited here tonight on Grande's Graveyard because, of course, tonight it is the Werewolf Special #1. Yes, and the Cemetery Man is always taking names and kicking candy ass. Is live and in living color here with you, and I'm very excited here tonight on Grande's Graveyard to discuss this with you because, this is a show that's it's crazy. I've done over 300 Grande's Graveyards, and this is the very first time I'm doing Werewolf Specials. So it's pretty crazy. I'm sure I've discussed these movies in passing over the years, but never have I actually sat down and reviewed them one by one. And I was like, how do we do this? How do we go about this, right? What werewolf era should I target, right? I initially thought maybe I'll do the three from 1981, which would be Wolfman, The Howling, and American Werewolf in London, which, of course, the latter one of those three we'll be discussing here tonight. But instead, I was like, you know what? Why don't I just discuss my favorite three, the top three, in my opinion, werewolf movies of all time? And tonight on Grande's Graveyard, we're going to be jumping across about a 60-year time gap. Of course, we're starting it off with 1941. Lon Chaney Jr. stars as the Wolfman, of course. And then, of course, from 1981, 40 years down the road, of course, John Landis joined, of course, coming off the Blues Brothers. Of course, it's An American Werewolf in London. And lastly, but not leastly, I'm repping the shirt. It's from the year 2000 in the Great White North. I'm talking about Ginger Snaps. Yes, Ginger Snaps, live in Illinois here tonight on Grande's Graveyard. I'm very excited to review all of these. It's going to be a lot of fun here tonight. We got some people in the chat, though, so let's say hi to them, and then we'll get this show on the road. I ain't going to waste any more of your goddamn time, if you will. Ciao, Grande Graveyardian friends. Welcome, Miss C. Hope all is well with you, my friend. Slasher Fred's in the house. I bet this episode will be a howling good one. Well, I hope you're right, my friend. Welcome, Slasher Fred. People saying hi to one another. We have the Horror Queen in the house. Hello, Miss Horror Queen. Welcome, Jen. We got Haddonfield mascot, good brother John's in the house. What's up, Grande in chat? Welcome, my friend. Welcome. I know you were stoked for this one. I know you didn't bust out another Stouffer's lasagna. I don't know what you would do for a wolf, like werewolf special. Like, what would you bust out? I guess, I don't know, venison maybe, or like some kind of like steak, or I don't know what you would go about doing to celebrate and watch this one, but I do appreciate you being in the house. James Abernathy, all the way from the UK. Hey, everyone. Welcome, James. We got Albert Cole in the house. Howling intensifies. Yes, start breathing heavy and just like lose your fucking mind here. We got Dr. Hog 666, Dr. Howdy 666. Let's howl at the moon, sickos. What's up, Graveyard fam? Welcome, Will. Hope all is well with you. And on cue, we've got Zintel. What up, homie? What up, homie? What's going on? And we have Zintel's sister, first time in the graveyard. Welcome, Susan Nevarez. Susan, welcome. How are you? And of course, Fortnite royalty right there. She saved my ass from Ghostface a few nights ago. So welcome, Susie. We got Merns, Triple M Mernsy's Movie Mansion. Look at that Ginger Snap swag. Compliments that beautiful chestnut hair. Jesus Christ. I will literally, on my dying day, it'll say, here lies this four-eyed fuck, the chestnut hair John Grande. It will say that on my brave or my tombstone when I'm actually in a fucking graveyard, probably. We got Ghostface Brett in the house. What's up? Love that shirt too. Didn't make it down to LA tonight. Oh, well, you skipped Halsey and you decided to watch Grande's Graveyard. I hope I'm a good substitute, right? Because it goes, we know how it goes. It's like Halsey, it's Ariana Grande, and then John Grande. It's like right in that order. Of course, like, just don't compare our networks because it ain't pretty. We got people saying hi to one another. We got Ryan, the Hitman Hanley. I'm getting my silver bullets ready. Oh, shit. Well, just don't shoot my dumb ass. Welcome, Ryan. Hope all is well with you. We got AJ's Happy Fun Time channel. My guy, AJ Zetro in the house. Always happy to have you. I know you're a big American Werewolf in London fan. It's Midnight Queen 126. She's trying to kick everybody's ass. John says, I thought about it, couldn't figure a meal out, just had ham and Swiss. Yeah, I wouldn't know what the meal would be either for the whole thing. I don't know. It's just the thought counts. Ciao, Grande, the original Wolfman kicks ass, an eye on you and an eye on the Jays tonight. Hi, Graveyard. I hope your Jays do well. We are, it's funny, Mateo. And, of course, Mateo was on last week. We had a lot of fun doing the horror bracket show. Mateo's Blue Jays are in a big game tonight, so I'm cheering for you, buddy. And of course, I know I generally shit on movies from the Great White North, but tonight I'll be putting one over as the greatest all-time werewolf movie that there's ever goddamn been made. Yeah, I'm going there. I'm going to say it. I'm just going to be controversial like that. That's my favorite werewolf movie. But, bro, LOL, sucks I missed her, but I'm stoked to be here. One of the best parts of my week every week. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you all saying that. So I'm not going to keep you all in suspense any longer. I'm going to cheers y'all up to the greatest goddamn beverage in the history of the world. Yes, cheers to all my werewolves. It's not a full moon out by me tonight, but hopefully it's a full moon out by you. You guys got to stay safe, and cheers to the graveyard. All right. So I know there's a lot we could kick off with, right? I figured we just go in chronological order because it's hard. If I was to just like go from a favorite to least, I don't know, top 3, 2, 1. I don't know how to do it, but I figured we just go in chronological order, if you will. And of course, that would take us to the year of 1941. That would take us to the year where one of the most infamous Universal monsters was born, right? Of course, this was not the first appearance of a werewolf on film, right? There was Werewolf in London, which of course later inspires a movie that we'll be discussing here tonight. But this was the first one to really set the world on fire and, you know, put its name on the map with the other big Universal monsters of said time, like a Frankenstein, like a Dracula. And of course, the movie I'm referring to from 1941, I'm talking about the Wolfman. Yes, the Wolfman. Brief plot synopsis. Upon his return to his father's estate, aristocrat Larry Talbot meets a beautiful woman, attends a mystical carnival, and uncovers a horrifying curse. Yes, the Wolfman. Now, this is a landmark in horror movies when you really think about it. I mean, I know that the werewolf genre may not be as popular as, let's say, zombie movies, slasher movies, vampire movies. It's not in that ballpark. Zombie movies, it's not there. I don't think it has that type of popularity or that type of quantity. I think there's definitely more of those than these. However, this was the one that I think really put this on the map, and it all goes back to the year 1938, where they Universal re-released Frankenstein and Dracula on a double bill, back to back, and people drove like crazy. It drove them crazy. They went to the theater, they were watching these movies that had just come out 6 years prior, and they couldn't get enough of their Dracula and Frankenstein, and that led Universal to say, hey, we got to churn more of these out. They are absolutely just killing it in the box office. What do we do? So what they did was they went to the well and they made the third Frankenstein movie, which was called Son of Frankenstein. That comes out in 1939, and that set the world on fire as well. And the idea was, hey, we did a sequel. Why don't we add a new monster to the mix? Why don't we have a new face of fear that we can add to this? And of course, that new face of fear was none other than the son of 1,000 faces. Of course, Lon Chaney Jr., who stars here as Larry Talbot, the Wolfman. And I always thought that the story of how this movie got made and the whole backstory of its lead actor is just as interesting, if not better, than the movie itself. Of course, Lon Chaney Sr. was the man of 1,000 faces. He was Quasimodo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He was, of course, the Phantom of the Opera. He was in all of these movies and known as the man of 1,000 faces, right? He could play all these characters and these silent pictures. And he sadly met an untimely demise when he's shooting a film called Thunder, and he was on set, caught pneumonia, and actually inhaled some of the fake snow that was on set that was for production, and he got a nasty throat infection, died at a really young age. And this prompted his son, Lon Chaney Jr., to say, hey, my dad didn't get to live out his dream entirely, right? He was famous, he was everywhere, but he didn't really get to enjoy that ride, right? It was taken away from him. So Lon Chaney Jr. said, I'm going to be the actor that my dad was. I'm going to try to top it. I'm going to try to step into these shoes and see, you know, if I can not only step into these shoes, but step into these 1,000 faces. And he's, of course, called on to be the Wolfman, which, of course, I always thought was a beautiful story. Like, what a cool story. And to me, you know, you look at Lon Chaney and his entire career, it's incredible. It's not just this performance as Larry Talbot. It's the, you know, performance as Count Alucard. It's the performance as Frankenstein's monster. And of course, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. All these great movies that he was a part of and got to play all these roles. Of course, Spider Baby years and years later. I always just loved Lon Chaney Jr. I thought he had a great charm to him. And I thought he had a great screen presence. He was just a really, really good actor. And the movie opens where, of course, he is this guy who's going home to his father's estate. And he is, of course, met there by his father, played by Claude Rains, another great character actor of that time. And he is smitten by a woman across the street. He loves this woman across the street, and he watches her through the window, very Peeping Tom style, through his like Hubble, if you will. And he one day just gets the courage to walk over and try to put the moves on her. He's like, "Hey, you know, I sense that you have these great, beautiful earrings for sale." And she's like, "What do you? I don't have those." And he's like, "Yeah, you do. They're upstairs in your room." He's very weird. He's very like Peeping Tom-ish, and it's kind of awkward, really, especially nowadays. It's kind of like, like you're watching this woman through her window and then being like, "Hey, I know you got these in your room because I was watching you get dressed." Very fucking weird, but that's what he does in this movie, and he's trying to woo her over and things like that. And it eventually kind of gets to the point where she's like, no, I'm good. And he's like, "I'll pick you up at 8. And she's like, no. And he's like, "I'll pick you up at 8. So he keeps kind of pushing the envelope until she agrees to the date, and he goes there to pick her up. And of course, they take this nice walk and stroll, of course, with another woman. And you hear this great little poem, this great little rhyme that one of the women says to him. "Even a man who's pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright." And you hear that a few different times in the movie as they're walking along. And the director does a great job at setting up these foggy atmospheres, right? If you look at you can almost not see the ground. It just looks like all mist as they're taking this stroll through the woods. And who do they come across? None other than Bela Lugosi, who, funny enough, the character's name is also Bela. And he is this palm reader who also travels with this carnival. And of course, there's this, gypsy lady as well. And one of the women, she wants to get her palm read by him. And Bela is great in this. It's always great to see him. And I always appreciated that Universal kept giving him jobs, right? Because there was the whole story of him on Son of Frankenstein, where they wanted to cut his pay and pay Basil Rathbone and Boris Karloff more. And fucking they went into the studio and were like, "We're not here without him. Like we're not here. Bela Lugosi isn't Count Dracula. We aren't here without him. So you better pay him just as much, if not more than us, because he's the reason we're all here." And you'd see Bela recurring, play roles in movies like this. And he was, of course, a small role here, but a vital one, because he's this palm reader by day. But when that full moon gets so bright, he becomes the wolf, the werewolf, and he attacks, Mr. Talbot and his date, and it's all crazy. It's all a scuffle, and it's all kind of quickly edited and things like that. You don't really get a good look to see what the hell happened. And when it's all said and done, he wakes up, Larry Talbot. He's like, "What the hell happened?" And he has these scars and this bite marks and things like that. But he's killed what looks like to be Bela, but he thinks it was a wolf. He thinks he was attacked by this animal. And what you have here is a lot of psychology. We have the psychology between, is this man going crazy? Did he think he really saw a werewolf? Is that really what it went down here? Or is it all in his mind? Is it all his head? Is it all in his psyche? And I like that story that they tell here, right? Because his dad, like I said, played by Claude Rains, he's trying to convince him the whole time, "You're crazy. You're crazy. You didn't really see these things. These things don't really happen. You're losing your marbles. Like, son, you have to get your shit together, because there was no wolf attack. There is no wolf man. There is no legend of the wolf, right? When the autumn moon is bright, there's none of that stuff. You got to get off it and move on." And he won't do it. No, God damn it. I know what I saw. I know what happened. I defended myself against a werewolf, and I will stand by that. And at one point he says, "I'll try to show you the scar." And the scar is gone. It's healed because he's a wolf. And I love how that was done. And we watch as, of course, we have some transformation scenes, which in 1941, they're not as spectacular as they would go on to be 40 years down the road, right? What they would do is they'd make Lon Chaney Jr., he'd sit in a chair, and they'd constantly apply hair to his legs, so it would look like the hair was growing over time, and they just use stop motion to make it look like it was constantly growing, when it was just really being applied more and more. Of course, same with his face, right? We get more and more and more hair applied to his face until he's the Wolfman, and he goes out at night to claim his victims. He kills the grave digger at a point. That stuff's great. I love that stuff. And what's crazy about this movie too, what people don't really mention, is the week it came out. It is something that nobody ever really mentions about this movie, and I always thought this was fascinating. This was released the same week as Pearl Harbor. It was the same fucking week. This Pearl Harbor was, I believe, December 7th, 1941, which would have been earlier in the week, like a Sunday, Monday. And this came out that Friday. So I always thought that was a fucking crazy thing. And you would think with a world thing going on like that nobody would want to take time to go to the movies. You would think that would negatively hurt their box office, right? Oh my God, we just attacked Japan. Holy shit, oh my God, shit's hitting the fan, right? When something like that happens, I mean, we always hear about the tragedy of 9/11 and how movies at that time, they just did not draw. Right. We talked about Soul Survivors in an episode. That was a movie that like came out 2 days after 9/11 and nobody, I mean, the movie just bombed. I think it was $25 million budget, made like 4 million, and that was it. Right. Here's a Pearl Harbor, a date that will live in infamy, is said so by FDR at the time. And yet people flock to this fucking movie like it was the second coming of Christ. I mean, it was fucking insane how much money this movie made. And it became a huge, huge, huge deal, when it was released. And it was a big smash hit. And they were fearful that, oh my God, this big thing in the world news, it's going to, shame our box office. And it thankfully didn't. And this became just as big, if not bigger, than the Universal Monster movies that had come before it. Now, I don't think it's as good as a Dracula. I don't think it's as good as a Frankenstein. I don't even think it's as good as a Bride of Frankenstein, but I think it was a big instrumental and vital piece of that entire world, and the whole thing of putting Lon Chaney Jr. back on the map as the son of a man of 1,000 faces, right? Because he would, like I said, go on to be the Mummy and Count Alucard and Frankenstein's monster and all these great characters down the road. I always thought it was just such a monumental moment in the history of this genre was the Wolfman, and it even to the point of setting up the rules, right? The whole thing with the silver bullets and the silver handle. And you're insane, he tells the gypsy lady who tells him all the rules. These rules, they live on for infamy. I mean, it's been nearly 100 years since the Wolfman hit theaters. And these rules are still brought up today. They're brought up in Ginger Snaps. Oh, what about the silver bullets? She's like, get real. Like the whole thing, it's all of that was established here. The lore, if you will, the ideology of being a werewolf, right? And the signs, the pentagram with the hand, all that stuff was birthed here. And I think the Wolfman is a really good one. The director did a really great job with this. I want to bring him up, of course, as well. George Wagner did a really, really good job. And the writer, Kurt Siodmak, he would go on to write several Frankenstein sequels like Ghost of Frankenstein, and he actually wrote I Walked with a Zombie, which is another horror classic. I mean, I don't know. I always thought this movie was really kind of slept on when it comes to the Universal monsters. Like this and the Mummy, the original Mummy, are the two that are pretty much slept on the most. But I think the Wolfman deserves some more love, and I think it was quite ambitious at the time to tackle something like this and add the psychological component of, is he really, the Wolfman, or is he going crazy? And it's kind of led up to, until we see him finally transform, oh my God, it's kind of left up to the viewer. And I liked that. I thought that was really good. You got a great leading man. You've got a great pace. The movie is about 70 minutes long before credits. I mean, it's a really, really, really short film too. I highly recommend The Wolfman. I think it's a great one. I think it's a Universal Monster classic and one that more people should definitely watch this holiday season. Now, let's see what y'all have to say here in the chat, because I definitely want to see what y'all's thoughts are on this one. Let's see where we were. I think we were here. As they say in American Werewolf in London, beware the moon. Yes, exactly. First time I watched the Universal Wolfman. Oh, last night. Okay, and what did you think? Well, got to hear what you thought. Haven't seen this one in ages. I highly recommend. I think the Wolfman's really good. Bust out that Wolfman Jack impression. I really wish. Scratch Birdo's in the house. I wish I had a good one. I can't impersonate that. I give you the best William Hickey on the planet, though. What makes the original Wolfman a classic is that it came out during the time of the war, and Larry Talbot returning home from his brother's funeral is pretty much like a soldier returning from the war. Well, that's an interesting, comparison. And of course, the whole thing of the Pearl Harbor being a few days before this, like that is fucking wild when you think about it, because like the world was just turned upside down at that time. People were like, holy fucking shit. There were people right in the war, and you'd think a movie like that, it was going to suffer. It's totally not going to make anything, and instead it set the world on fire. It was like the opposite. It was like you would never have known Pearl Harbor had happened a few days earlier. It was like, hey, fuck it, the Wolfman's in theaters, baby. Let's get the popcorn and the soda pop and all that good shit. Ginger Ninja movie reviews. Aroo! Is it a full moon out tonight? Welcome, Ginger Ninja. Love Machine is in the house. I love that thumbnail. That's incredible. Wolfman holds up unbelievably well. I agree. I'm completely with you, man. It's incredible how hold up. It's like, you got to think, man, Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, like all these movies, it's crazy how good some of them still are. Like you'd think, okay, it's been almost 100 years. Is it played out? Does it really hold up? And the answer is yes. I think a big part of it is pacing. These older movies, they're really not long. Like it's not a huge time investment to sit down and watch. It's like, okay, and I like it. It's just it kind of gets to it. These are movies that the fat is very much cut out. It's like let's just fucking get to it. Like there's no time for anything else, no time for wasted motion. Like let's get to the meat and potatoes. And that's what I like about the Universal monster movies, especially, right? There very few of them go too long. We got Anthony Chabot does Pop Cultures and Openings. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Welcome, Anthony. Hope all is well with you. Did Wolfman inspire Chewbacca? Chris the Fur is in the house. Welcome, Chris. To my knowledge, I've never heard that, but it's possible. I mean, it's possible. I don't know. I would think, I don't know. You got me on that one. I really do not know the answer to that. I'd have to look that up. Maybe Google would be a good friend on that one. Sup, baby Grande. Well, thank you. I think one other person calls me Baby Graveyard. I think that's a funny one. Let's see. It is very strange that when Bela the gypsy becomes a werewolf, he becomes a normal wolf, and when Larry he's the two-legged werewolf. Right. Well, I mean, they wanted to do as much in camera as they could, and I do appreciate that, right? Because I mean, this was again a primitive time. This was not. We didn't have CGI. We didn't have a Rick Baker. We didn't have Rob Bottin or Savini or all these great, talented, makeup effects guys to really go above and beyond, right? They had to do a lot with a little, and they were able to do that. It is, I think, still an iconic image is the original design of the Wolfman. I still think that's iconic. I think it's better than the 2010 when it was all CGI. I would even go as far to say that. I think sometimes less is more, and this is one of those instances. Good evening, Graveyard Ghouls, Cinephile World Order. Sean Blue is in the house. That shirt is wild, Grande. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I had to rock this. I love this fucking shirt. I'm a big, big fan of Ginger Snaps, and I was like, you know what? We're rocking it out. It's Orange and Black Attack for October season 2. I recently read an article talking about DiCaprio is in talks to play Bela. Dude, I would love that. That would be amazing. Now, granted, I don't know if that's, I mean, granted, Leonardo DiCaprio could do fucking anything. We just discussed his whole career a couple of weeks ago. We did the Top 10 Leo show, which was a lot of fun. I mean, I'd be all for that. Bela's one of those guys, man, that the more you read about him, it's just more and more fascinating, right? Like the whole shit with him and drugs too. Like when you get into reading into some of that, like that shit's really sad. And Lon Chaney Jr. was a really fascinating guy too. Like I just like the minute he's on the screen, you smile. Like he's just one of those guys. He positive vibes when you're watching Lon Chaney Jr. in anything. And this movie's no exception. I recommend Late Faces. You told me about that one, and I have it on the watch list, so I will be getting to that one, Mr. Hanley. I did tonight. This is a Grande's Graveyard where I played it safe. I was like, let me just go with the OG3, and for future Werewolf, special installments, Late Phases is one that will definitely be, in the consideration of contenders there. Wolfman is such a massive step up from Dracula and Frankenstein. Really? Okay, that's interesting. You could tell that with those first two. The directors are still trying to figure out how to properly make a film. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean, right? Of course, it had been a decade later, and things advance, right? The process advances, the technology advances. You're talking about 10 years. It's not like it was 10 days later. So I see what you mean, but I think that those two movies, the Dracula and Frankenstein, those still have just this all-time classic feel to them that I don't think ever will get old, right? We're sitting here, it's 96 years later, and they're still fucking good, watchable movies that stand the test of time. That's impossible to do, really. I mean, there are movies from 5 years ago that don't have that type of, memorability or rewatchability factor. It's a shame. Actually watching Late Phases tomorrow. There you go. Pearl Harbor bullshit. Ben Affleck wasn't alive in 1941. Well, that's probably, I don't know. Ben Affleck is the worst, but as always, the Pearl Harbor movie was not the best either. But yeah, no, I always thought that was fucking crazy. Nobody ever mentions that about this movie. Yeah, same week. And they were, I mean, could you imagine being a Universal Studio producer? Like, our big movie's coming out on Friday, our next face of the fucking genre, move over Bela, move over Boris, like, we've got Lon Chaney Jr., the Wolfman, right? And then that happens on fucking Sunday or Monday or whatever date it was. I think it was a Monday. Like, I would be panicked, dude. I would hit the panic button. I would have totally pushed the release out. But I guess the reason they probably didn't is because A, it was so close to the date, and B, I mean, who's to say that pushing it out is going to hurt or help your case, right? Well, all right, we'll put it in January. Who the fuck's going to the movies in January? That's why it is the dump month. So that wasn't going to work. So yeah, they just kind of had to stick to the plan, and thankfully for them, it worked out. It was awesome. World Order. Yeah, no, I've definitely got to see it. You told me about it a few months ago. I have added on the watch list. From what I've seen so far, it does look intriguing. Okay. There is a movie called She-Wolf of London, which is not really a werewolf movie, but a gaslighting movie. Okay. John and Chad, welcome. Tom, hope all is well with you. The Wolfman also has the late Ralph Bellamy. Absolutely. It's got a great cast. Everyone in this movie is really, really good. In the opening of the movie, when you see a hard opening, a book, the name Talbot is in bold. Exactly. Yes. Not my favorite Universal monster film. That would go to Dracula or Frankenstein, but this is a solid film. Yeah, I'm right there too. It is a solid movie. I would say it is the original Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and then Dracula would be like my top 3 Universal monster movies. But Creature from the Black Lagoon is great. The Mummy is great. The Wolfman is fantastic. I have very few that I don't like. They're very few and far between when I don't like them. I like the effects. Stories seem kind of silly. 3 out of 5 rating. Okay, that's fair. Let's see. The Curse, better name for 8 for Silver, starts out at wartime, puts a very different spin. That's funny you mentioned that, and that you just brain blasted me. Creepshow did a really cool episode. The new Creepshow, it was called Bad Wolf Down, I think it was called, and it had Jeffrey Combs in it, and it was all these werewolves. It was fantastically done. Like, I'm sure you've seen it, but if people haven't, like, that's a great episode of that new Creepshow series. Really good stuff. I'm not a big fan of Universal monsters except for Frankenstein. Okay. We have Millie Rock. Hello, Millie Rock. Let's see. People saying hi. Would you sit in the makeup chair to what? Also, can you review The Summer I Turned Pretty? I'm gonna have to take a hard pass on that. DiCaprio as Bela. I will watch it. Let's hope is better than the biopic on the cross-dressing J.E. Hoover. Oh, that is a bad movie. J. Edgar is terrible. I used to glue dog hair on my skin and walk around like Lon Chaney from The Wolfman as a kid. Really? That's amazing. No, we had a guy in the neighborhood that every Halloween he would gimmick his front door. So what you would do is he would dress up as the Wolfman, right, with the whole the paws and the hair and all of the whole gimmick. And you'd ring the doorbell once and he would start howling. Right. And then if you rang it twice, he'd start banging and howling and making all this noise. And then if you rang it the third time, he would sprint towards the door, and he had it gimmicked where the screen would just bust right through. And he would just jump out and throw candy up in the air for everybody. It was amazing. It was so much fun. I missed that guy. Sadly, he passed away really young, but that was one of my fondest memories as a kid of trick-or-treating, was that guy would dress up as the Wolfman and jump out and throw candy for all of us. It was really cool. It was really, really cool stuff. It's a great trick-or-treating memory I have. Well, the Wolfman was paired with Abbott and Costello after this movie. That tells a lot of the unfortunate flaw. Yeah, I mean, Abbott and Costello, and they all, that was the only movie ever where Bela Lugosi said, fuck it, I'll be Dracula again. Because I'm sure they knew they were going to get the big fucking payday, right? Abbott and Costello equaled money, even though it was not a horror movie, right? It was more so a parody, self-aware comedy. This was different stuff, and that was a huge thing. Jeffrey Combs was great in the Nazi. Yeah, he never disappoints, right? If you saw my back, you'd think I was the Wolfman. The Wolfman, Mearns. Mearns is the Wolfman. But in all seriousness, Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman, can't go wrong. It's a great, great movie. I really like it. I'm a big fan of it. Definitely one that I recommend around spooky season. But, of course, another one that I'd recommend around spooky season. Oh, boy. I've shared something where there's nothing to share. Isn't that crazy? Haven't I jumped the shark enough here tonight? No, I'm not jumping the shark here. Instead, I'm going to jump 2 backpackers, if you will. 2 men walking after leaving the slaughtered lamb. I'm talking about this movie from 1981. John Landis joint. An American Werewolf in London. Yes, brief plot synopsis. American college students David Kessler and Jack Goodman on a walking tour of Britain are attacked by a werewolf that none of the locals will admit exists. Jack dies. David recovers in a hospital where he has nightmares. Yes, an American Werewolf in London. I mean, most people will tell you this is the greatest werewolf movie ever made, and it's hard to disagree. It's if it's not number 1, it's number 2. It's right there. It's 1B to 1A. I don't know. It's fantastic. And again, it's another thing where you go before it was even made, right? With John Landis. John Landis, who like a decade prior to this had directed a movie called Schlock that he had, covered up and didn't want to get released for years and years and years. And of course, went on to do Animal House, which is a top 10 favorite comedy. The Blues Brothers, all these movies with John Belushi. And to step away from that and to make a horror picture was something so like wow at the time, like really, like you're doing this, like this, you're doing a werewolf picture, like what the fuck, like seemed like a really odd choice at the time for the writer and director at hand, right? It wasn't a director for hire. He was the writer, director, the creative, and everything behind this. And for a guy like Landis, it seemed like a weird career choice. And of course, the movie we get is American Werewolf in London, which in a lot of ways is the best werewolf movie ever made. I mean, it is tremendous as we follow like these two backpackers right here, of course, played by David Naughton and Griffin Dunn, these two guys, David and Jack, respectively. And they're walking, and we have this great opening where they show you the hills, they show you the meadows and all these things like that. And of course, we get these great music, great soundtrack in this whole movie. A lot of Creedence. You got to love some Creedence Clearwater Revival. As these two guys are just walking and talking, and they stumble upon the slaughtered lamb. And I always loved the atmosphere and the feel and the tension the minute they walk into the door of the slaughtered lamb. It's just like the place stops. Like everyone's like, outsiders, what the fuck? I don't got anything hot. I don't got hot coffee. I don't got hot chocolate. You want something hot? You need some food, right? You have the funny fucking lady, and they're like, "Could you make us some tea?" And she's like, "Yeah, I could do that." And they start kind of asking questions and interjecting themselves in conversations. And the guy is like a professional dart thrower. You made me miss. I missed in 20 years. So never missed that board. Like, I love that shit. Like, that is amazing. And again, not something that you would think John Landis for, at least for me. Like, I'm like Animal House and Blues Brothers, like weird that he would tag something like this. But I think that's what makes this movie work. While it has great tension, while it has great atmosphere and great sequences of horror, he interjects a great energy and humor into this movie that is the perfect mesh, and it doesn't drown the horror too much. So it's more horror comedy than comedy horror. Is there comedic moments in it? Absolutely. It's filtered with comedic moments. However, I think what was so smart was to make it more about the horrors of the situation. We watch these two guys as they feel unwelcome in this slaughtered lamb. They walk out. They're in a rush. It starts to storm. They're singing to try to keep their sanity. And what Landis does so well is he keeps the camera like in front of them, right? They're walking and they're looking behind. And you get the shot basically that's on the poster. That's the shot that you get, right? So you're kind of seeing from the vantage point of what's in front of them, and you're hearing the werewolf sounds. Woo! You're hearing the howling and all these things, and they're looking around like, what the fuck? And I love how they never kind of move the camera. You're like, oh my God, like what the fuck is behind them or in front of them or above them? What's going to happen? And I love how Landis kind of builds. The one of them falls and he goes, oh, hey, man, I'll pick you back up. And then you get the attack and this wild wolf attack. David runs screaming, trying to run off for his own life. So fucking good, man. I mean, incredible as he's running away. And then I got to go back for my friend. That's Jack. So he goes back and, he survives the ordeal, but he does get bit. Jack gets mauled like crazy. And then, of course, he wakes up in the hospital and he's plagued by nightmares. And the nightmares in this movie are even bizarre. Like, some of them are funny. Some of them are insane. Some of them make no goddamn sense. Some of them feel like they're in from a different movie. The big famous one is the one where they're all watching the Muppet Show. And they're all just kind of sitting there on the couch and, oh, the Muppet Show. And there's a knock at the door. Oh, I'll get it. They open the door. They just get fucking shot down to death. Like, insane. You're like, what the hell is going on in this son of a bitch? This is crazy. As they all get shot down. And that apparently was Landis trying to make a statement of violence at the time, which it doesn't feel like it fits in the movie, but it's so bizarre that you can't forget it. It's one of those, it's like, maybe this is a dream that just, it's there and it's up for you to interpret as to why it's there. I don't know. And it's funny, the Muppet connection is great too, right? One of the doctors, they bring in Frank Oz, who of course voiced Miss Piggy amongst other Muppet characters. Yoda, right? And Yoda was the year before this, crazy enough. The whole story with that was John Landis had went out in the town, right? And the Muppet Show was being shot. right around the same part of London. And he met fucking Jim Henson and Frank Oz one night, and they were out and having drinks. And John Landis was like, you know what? I don't have any spots for you in my movie, but I'm putting you in my movie. And both of them kept to their word. So they're Jim Henson does a voice, and Frank Oz is physically there in the picture. So I always thought that was kind of a funny story of just, hey, ran into the Muppet creators. Like, come and be in my movie. Why the fuck not? Right? Do a voice, Jim Henson. So cool. And we watch these crazy dream sequences, and we learn that, of course, through a posthumous visit from his friend Jack, who is coming to him and says, you're going to turn into the beast. You're going to turn into the wolf, David. And he keeps kind of warning him. And what I love is every time you see him, he's more and more disfigured, right? We first see him, it's like fresh that the attack has happened, right? You see the giant claw scratching and the gore and all this stuff as he's visiting him and talking to him, things like that. And then as the visits go on, he's more and more decayed. So it's showing, yes, you will die. You can die and whatever, but your soul will continue to rot, and your body will continue to suffer over time as the days go on, right? Just like a rotting corpse in the ground. Really good stuff. And the effects work is great. And the effects work is really the most remembered thing about this movie. Now, the movie's fantastic all the way around. It's a great film, but you can't talk about an American Werewolf in London without the greatness of Rick Baker. And Rick Baker, of course, a longtime great special makeup effects artist, and this is his opus. There's no doubt about it. This is his best movie that he ever did, and he worked extensively. He worked months on months preparing the prosthetic effects for this movie and the gore and the whole lead up to, of course, what the most infamous scene is in this movie, in the transformation. I mean, a scene that has forever defined this genre. Like you talk about some of the most influential scenes or the greatest scenes in the history of this thing that we all know and love, and the transformation scene is at the heart of that. And everyone remembers when he's looking at the hand. It's like his hand keeps like stretching. He gets on all fours, and you see his Achilles stretching and all this stuff, and the snarl, like the mouth kind of growing ever so slightly. And it's funny that Rick Baker, a story that not enough people tell, because this is one of those movies where it's like, oh, well, what can I say that hasn't been said? This doesn't get said enough. Rick Baker was pissed at John Landis when he saw the initial cut. And John Landis was like, what's the problem? And he goes, listen, I worked months on that fucking transformation scene. It's not long enough. You cut it to shreds. He was most pissed off about the snout. He was like, dude, the snout, that should be way longer. He's like, you cut it down to 7 seconds. What the fuck are you doing? Like, I worked months and months, and you took 7 seconds of it? Like, what the fuck? And Landis was like, it works. Trust me, it's perfect. I'm not changing it. So he wouldn't budge. And Rick Baker went opening night to see an American Werewolf in London with a crowd and went under protest. Like, you motherfucker, I put my heart and soul into this. I worked hours upon hours, right? Months and months of 10-hour days for you to use 7-second shot of this transformation. And then Rick Baker sat in that theater and he saw the reaction from that crowd opening night live. And I think it was in that moment Rick Baker was like, you know what, maybe Landis was right. Like, the reaction, the visceral reaction of people, shrieking and grabbing onto each other and going, oh my fucking God. When that scene happens, it's an all-time movie moment. And I think Rick Baker's ever since then very much so embraced it, right? I understand where Rick's coming from. You spent a lot of your time and your hard work and the studio's money to make this work and make this great. And when it's cut down to shreds, I understand his initial motherfuckers. But when you see it with the crowd and when it's perceived and received the way that it's intended, I mean, there's no greater high in the world. Like, that's got to be a great feeling. And that's the thing. Like, listen, as great as Landis is, as great as the acting in the movie is, and the song, don't go around tonight, and it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. Everything in this movie, all of it, it's great. However, Rick Baker, it's Rick Baker's moment. It really was his moment. And like, I love everything about it. Like I was saying, the humor is really funny. The self-awareness, right? The whole, the couple walking back to let's go around the back, right? And they're walking around the back. The guy's fucking around. He gets mauled by a werewolf. And then there's the British woman in the window. Oh, I think there's buffoonery going on out there, honey. And oh, what the fuck? The guy in the subway station, where he gets off the train, he's kind of looking around, he thinks he hears something, then he gets into the long, like, tube hallway and he sees it. He's like, bloody hell, and he just starts fucking taking off, just running. And I love again how Landis shot that, right? We get the POV of the wolf on a dolly going at the guy, and he's running. He throws his fucking work bag up. He's running like a motherfucker, and then gets on the escalator, and it's slowly going up. And we watch as the wolf crawls ever so slightly up into killing him. Tremendous stuff. I love how they pulled that off too. I thought that was just so fucking funny and well done. Like everything about it, while it's horrific, it also has that charm to it. It also has that kind of like it's winking at you while it's doing what it's doing. And that's why I think the beauty of American Werewolf in London is. There's a lot going on here, right? The controlling the beast within. Can you control the beast within yourself, right? There's a beast within all of us. And the difference between, of course, becoming this monster, and of course trying to deal with the survivor's guilt of what he's going through, right? Because he did try to go back to save his friend, but his friend was, of course, still taken and he was alive. Controlling that beast, trying to learn how to control that beast is what makes you a man. And that's the whole thing that they're kind of playing with in this movie as well. And I love this. It's just a great movie. Like Jenny Agutter is in it, who you might remember her as the foster mom from Child's Play 2. She's sort of the nurse love interest. She's fine in the movie. They have this fun shower scene in it, which is good. There's the whole love angle at the end where David, I love you. And she's crying and it's just in the corner. And you see like a glimmer of, does he receive this? Is there a part of him in there that hurt her? And then, of course, they blow him all the holy hell and the movie kind of ends. But it's just great. It's to me one of Landis's finest movies, and that's saying a lot. John Landis made a lot of good movies, and I know that obviously this was a few years before the whole controversy with John Landis and the Twilight Zone movie and Vic Morrow and the two little girls, and that's forever one of the saddest things to have happen on a movie set. I mean, it does not absolve him. I understand that accidents happen. It's sad and it's terrible. It's a black eye in his entire career and life, right? And with this particular movie, though, I always looked at it as like one of his best, right? I love Blues Brothers. I love Animal House. I love this one. I love Trading Places. He made so many great movies. But to me, like with John Landis, I always wish he had done more horror. And I know that he would eventually, like 25 years later, he would do Deer Woman, which was the Masters of Horror episode that he did. And I always liked that too, right? With Brian Benben. I always thought that was really good too. I don't know. I think American Werewolf in London is fucking great. It's really one of those movies where it's like, how much more can I say that hasn't already been said? But I want to hear what your guys' thoughts is on it, because I'm sure this one's got a lot of hype in the chat. Let's see. I think we were here. I was surprised with American Werewolf on 4K from AV, but what else are we going to do? What else is new with AV? Yeah, I mean, understandable. I didn't see that 4K transfer, to be perfectly honest with you. What makes an American Werewolf in London a classic is how it mixes comedy and horror. Yeah, I'm 100% with that. I think that's the beauty of it too. Like, I know there's the age-old debate. Oh, this or The Howling, right? There's a big like battle between those two movies. I like The Howling. I like Joe Dante. I think The Howling has some great effects in it as well. It's this movie's energy, its humor, its self-awareness, its intelligence. There's so much going on here, more that meets the eye. And to me, that's what makes an American Werewolf so much better. It's just more of a grand movie. There's just way more going on. And it's crazy to me that somebody who never had to go down this road, John Landis could have rode the comedy train till he died, goes here and adds a little bit of that world in it. See, sometimes I think what would have happened if you didn't get a guy like Landis, right? So let's say you had the same script and you got a different director. I don't think that humor would have ever been integrated in. I think it would have been taken away. And I think this is a rare instance where the humor helps the movie a lot, because this humor just works, right? I've seen a lot of modern day movies. They force humor into their movies, and I don't necessarily find it that funny. I'm like, I'm trying to get invested in your world. Like, stop trying to cut jokes on me, And that's all well and good when movies do that. And sometimes people go along with the jokes, think they're the funniest jokes in the world. And that's all well and good, like I said. However, I think at the same time, it's a situation where this movie, it's like a part of the world. All these weird dream sequences, right? He wakes up and then the nurse goes, oh, it's okay. It was just a dream. She opens the thing and she gets the hell stabbed out of her out of nowhere. It's a dream within a dream. Like, only in this movie does that work. only here. It's a wonderful world that Landis creates around us. It's great stuff. Childhood memories, saw this at the theater with my folks. Long walk back to the car that night, nightmare fuel for sure. That's incredible. I have never seen this in the theater, but I'm so jealous that you have. That's like, I mean, I would have given anything for that. I remember, funny enough, I think the first time I saw this movie would have been renting it as a kid. I actually had probably seen it they had this thing called Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments. And it was like these celebrities talking about horror movies. And this was one of them that was talked about. And I remember always being like, that movie looks like too much for me. Like, I don't know if I could take that movie. And I finally rented it and saw it, and I just loved it. I was like, this is like, John Landis is the fucking man. I like the transformation sequence. Yeah, no, the transformation sequence is tremendous. It's great stuff. That cover is iconic too. Just two dudes looking back at the full moon. Yeah, it really is. That is a great one sheet, man. That is absolutely great. Why does your English accent sound like Southern Alabama? Sorry, I don't do the best English accent. I don't know. I missed that bulge. God damn it. It is a regular poster, but once you realize it's a werewolf movie, you want to know. Well, yeah, sure, absolutely. I think that's a great one sheet. Like, I don't own that one, but that's an iconic one for sure. Like, all of it, man. The whole. The stuff in the movie theater, when he eventually goes to the movie theater and sees his friends almost fully decayed, and he sees all his victims, and they're all like, I wish I could say it was a nice time meeting you, but I'm a little bit mad. I'm a little bit flustered. Like, I love all that. That shit's fucking funny, man. Did you know that John Landis got the idea of Jack appearing as a corpse when he was on the set during the filming of Kelly's Heroes? And I did not know that. Odd Vision 9, hello, question mark. Well, hello, question mark to you. It's a 5 out of 5. Yeah, it is. It is a 5 out of 5. There's no, like... I know there's certain people who can't get into this movie, but it's universally a movie that's generally really liked. Like, it's very rare you hear somebody don't like this movie. American is special to me, as well as being from the year I was born. It's the only movie I chickened out on the first time around when I was younger. Finally watched it for the first time this year. Oh, that is so cool. What a cool full circle moment. For John Landis has used the line, see you next Wednesday, also for the Blues Brothers. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Just curious, Grande, do you like American Werewolf in Paris? No, I do not. I do know that may be controversial. I think Zintel was telling me that she loved that one. Not one of my favorites. I'm not a fan of it at all. But I know there is an audience, so whatever. The Tavern Slaughtered Lamb is very much similar to the inn in the original Mizzle Man. And what's funny, in New York City, they used to have the Slaughtered Lamb. It was a wing place, and I used to love to go to it. It was in the Village. It wasn't too far from the IFC Center. It was awesome. Like, let's do wings and let's do a movie, right? You just cross the street, and it was such a right by Carmine Street. It was awesome little place. And unfortunately, the pandemic closed down the Slaughtered Lamb, but it was all themed like this movie. All the wings were like atomic flavors, and you could get, the Wolfman burger and all this stuff. Like, it had all this great like menu items. It was fantastic. I loved the Slaughtered Lamb in New York City. It's a shame it's not around anymore. Amazing movie, American Werewolf. Like the humor, practical effects, groundbreaking. Do you like the end? Landis is a great director, but a very, very small man. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do like the end. I think the end is very heartfelt out of nowhere. The whole like werewolf getting released in the middle of the city, I always thought was like really good. It's like, holy shit, man, like this is absolutely crazy. It just feels like it's going in 100 different directions all at once. But it's really good. I like the ending quite a bit. And yeah, no, I know what you mean with Landis. It's a shame. It's like, I like most of the guy's movies. I do. I do think what happened was an accident. I do. Like, I know, I don't think he's a malicious person. I just think what happened was just such a travesty, and it's just so sad that 3 people lost their lives on the set of that movie. And it's like, who knows what more Vic Morrow could have brought for us? Who knows if those 2 little kids would have went? Like, it's just really sad, the whole thing. Like, I look at John Landis, I want to say, like, I like his films. I do. I really do. It's just a shame that, what happened there really is, because, you look at movies like this and it reminds you how good and talented he was. He was really a fresh voice at this time, right? A lot of people trying to make bleak horror movies. And Landis came in and was like, let's throw some jokes at this. Let's have a blast. Let's have fun with it. And then that's what he did. It was really cool. The actor who played the dart player was also in the 2010 remake of the Wolfman. Was he? I didn't know that. I never liked that 2010 Wolfman. I don't think I ever rewatched it either. It was a one and done for me. Rick Baker should have transformed and made Landis pay for that shit. I will say this. The fact that Baker has always said that there was more stuff they cut out. Where is that stuff? That's the biggest fucking black eye. It's like, wait a minute. Like, there was more of this? Like, there should totally have been like an unedited, like we could watch everything they shot for that. That would have just be a dream come true. But unfortunately, I don't believe that made it through the cutting room floor, which is a damn shame. That's the part where I'm like, God damn you, Landis. How desperate must you be for a drink if you go into the pub when there are werewolves outside? Yeah, I mean, I love that they're like, I think we should go back to the slaughtered lamb. And he's like, yeah, good idea. And he's like, we're lost. It's just so good, man. The original teaser trailer, which shows S Bloodstream and the paw slamming on it is very scary. Okay, David Naughton sang the theme song to the TV series Making It. I liked Rick Baker's cameo in the new VHS Halloween anthology Home Haunt. My favorite segment was my favorite segment. Okay, cool. I have to see that. I didn't see the VHS Halloween. LOL, but is there anywhere else to go in that moment? Yeah, no, that's a good point. Jenny Gutter, also in Logan's Run. Good to see like the new VHS. I haven't seen, it's funny. I've seen the first 4 VHS movies, and after that, it's like I feel like they make one every year, but they all like I don't remember them. Like I love the second one. The second VHS is great, and then the rest of them, I think I've done an episode on the trilogy, right? I don't even think VHS 94 had come out at that time. We have Matt Landrum in the house. What's going on? Wait, you like this one over American Wolf in Paris? I'm kidding. I'm glad. Yeah. The other night was funny with you go, oh, I wonder if Alfred Romero is going to go with Final Destination. And I was like, really? Which I was ready to believe anything at that point because Mario had turned on Mario Bava. Mateo had turned on Mario Bava. And I was like, what the fuck? So I don't know. I'm ready to believe R.I.P. John Woodvine. LOL. In the movie, David asks his girlfriend if he's seen The Wolf, and she thinks he's referring to Hammer horror movie Curse of the Werewolf. I liked it about as much as the others in the VHS series too. Stories in each with these. Viral is terrible. Yeah, that's the worst one for sure. Of the ones I've seen, that's the worst one. That 100 Scariest Movie Moments from Bravo is on YouTube. It's great. It's like that was a great thing for me. And it's funny, like they talk about Blood and Black Lace. They talk about Alice, Sweet Alice. Like there was like some obscure ones they would talk about. It wasn't just the same old shit, which I was always appreciative of. Yeah, it's basically how I feel, Tom. They're going to hit or miss. Yeah, for sure. So people talking about that. Let's see. American Werewolf in London is filled with great imagery, cinematic, very cinematic, easily one of my favorite werewolf movies. I'm totally with you. If disliking American Werewolf in Paris is controversial, then count me controversial. I would say so too. I'm controversial as well there. VHS 2 and VHS 94 are the only good VHS movies. The rest were terrible. Yeah, that's the ones I've seen. I've seen those 3, and I would say, yeah, those are probably my top 3 of the 4 I've seen. So I don't know. I'm skeptical there, but I would give them a shot. I'm sure I could do a graveyard on 94 through the new one because I've done the trilogy. I did the first trilogy. American Werewolf in London is a great fucking movie. Come on. I know. It is what it is, a review. I'm sorry if it wasn't much of a review, but this is a movie. Everyone's fucking seen this. Like it's a great one. You totally don't want to miss. If you've not seen American Werewolf in London, please get off your ass and watch an American Werewolf in London. You can watch it for free on Tubi or not to be, and you won't be disappointed. But one here that I wanted to end the show on was a movie that I've always thought was one of the best. I did get the privilege to see this in the theater about 2 years ago. It was a 4K transfer screening, and it looked the best it's ever looked. And I hope they do release an actual physical 4K because I would snack it in a second. This is, of course, from the year 2000. I'm talking about this little Canadian movie from the Great White North. Shout out to Canada, because I know sometimes I say, oh, Canadian movies have a certain look to them. This is a great Canadian film. Don't you get me wrong. I'm talking about Ginger Snaps. Yes, Ginger Snaps from the year 2000. Y2K itself. And we've got a brief plot synopsis. 2 death-obsessed sisters, outcasts in their suburban neighborhood, must deal with the tragic consequences when one of them is bitten by a deadly werewolf. Yes, Ginger Snaps. Now, this is an incredible movie that I've always really championed and said was one of, if not my favorite werewolf movies. This is my favorite werewolf movie. I would say that Ginger Snaps is my favorite. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Now, of course, this was a movie that I always felt was kind of like lightning in a bottle. There was an idea to do this all the way back in like the mid 90s, right? The director, John Fawcett, he really wanted to, make a movie that was similar to An American Wolf in London, but he wanted to do it with two lead teenage girls instead of two, right, middle-aged guys going through it. Here, he wanted two like goth girls that were into some weird shit, the macabre, if you will. And he got, of course, the writer on board, Karen Walton, who she never liked horror movies. She always felt it was against women and it never portrayed women in a positive light. So he said, here's your chance. Like, go for it. Like make us like it. Make something that is empowering or has something to say about women. And she was skeptical about it. She actually did go to a consultant of this film, Vincenzo Natali, who you might remember from a movie called Cube. He's the director of Cube, a movie called Splice. Vincenzo had quite a career and he helped with storyboarding in this. She went to Vincenzo and she said, hey, like, I really need help with this. Like, how do I tell this story? And he said, well, make it metaphorical, make it tie into, something else, have something to say here. And that's kind of the approach that she takes. And of course, the casting is another big thing with this movie too. You have, of course, Emily Perkins, who had decade earlier starred in Stephen King's It, the original 1990 miniseries, and Catherine Isabel, who was a young up-and-comer at the time, who go on to be in a ton of horror movies, Freddy vs. Jason, American Mary, See No Evil 2, a lot of horror movies that Catherine Isabel was in. I think she was just recently in the new Tron, so Catherine Isabel's still getting jobs, and she's a good actress. They get these two together, and it always felt like fate from the beginning. These two knew each other for years. They were born in the same hospital, went to the same talent school. It seemed like fate, and they auditioned on the same day. It was a pretty crazy process. And the thing that people don't really know is that Scarlett Johansson was initially cast as the Catherine Isabel character. They had all but signed her on. That was all but going to happen. But because of a controversial thing going on in Canada at the time with casting directors, Scarlett Johansson's mother apparently said, nope, she's not doing this movie, backed out. And then, of course, it wasn't too much longer until Catherine Isabel came in and wooed them. And they were like, okay, this is going to be our Ginger. This is going to be Ginger and Ginger Snaps. And the rest is history, right? Because these two girls knew each other from a pre-existing time and thus played off each other as sisters really, really well. And I think that was the biggest key to this movie, is to get that familiarity. And then these two play off each other so fucking organically that it's like really great to watch. You really do buy them as sisters in this movie. And of course, there are these weirdos that present these crazy projects in their class, right? That's all pictures of them pretending to be dead, right? Impaled on the fence and hanging in the bedroom. And this is what's playing throughout the opening credits. We get open field, and then we see these pictures of them pretending that they're dead with all this fake corn serpent stuff on them, which I thought was a great, like, dark humor, right? This black humor, which I thought was good. And then we meet these girls, right? And they are so close. They're bonded like crazy. And they say that, if I die, we die together, right? And they have this bond that's unbreakable, right? The sisterhood, I should say. And the two of them, they're close and they're outcasts and nobody likes them and they're made fun of and teased in the gym class and things like that. And then one night, while their parents are out, they decide to take a walk with their dog and they hear this wild animal in the distance, and there's reports in the news, oh, there's this crazed runaway animal. And they're like, like, big fucking deal, until one of it attacks Ginger and she gets attacked and mauled and all this stuff. And Emily Perkins tries to stop it. Ginger tries to break it up and all this stuff. She drags her out. They run across the street and this wolf just gets plastered by this car, this giant van, just splatters into a million pieces. And they're like, what the fuck was that thing? And of course, they get her back to the room and her wounds are already healing. She's like, it's a miracle. My wounds are healing. What's going on? And what we go on to figure out is that she's, of course, now been cursed, right? She's cursed by the mark of the werewolf, right? Lincolnography, if you will, lycanography. She's now cursed to be a werewolf, while at the same time, she's cursed by womanhood. She has, of course, also been getting her period, and it's kind of a metaphorical look at, of course, entering womanhood and becoming this monster, becoming this werewolf? Where do you draw the line of what is different from the other? Or are these two things exactly the same, right? Because, of course, puberty is a crazy thing, right? Our hormones are raging. Our libido is shooting through the roof. We're growing hair in crazy places. Our voices are getting deeper. Our, mentalities are changing a little bit. And of course, what, the writer does here is to turn that on its head and say, wait a minute, let's throw that and kind of intertwine it with becoming a werewolf, right? It's the beast inside you coming out, right? And I love that storytelling. I thought that was such a brilliant way to take something like this and something that no one had ever done before, right? And a woman that didn't feel like the genre was positive towards women, I disagree with her, but for her to take this as a challenge and then to paint the picture that she does on this screenplay, I mean, she did a great job. I think that's the brilliance of Ginger Snaps, is the writing. It's very, very well written and smart. As we watch these two girls and we watch Ginger, she's going in through day in, day out school life, and now getting the attention that she's never had before. The boys are looking at her. She's turning heads in the hallway. All of a sudden, this guy played by Jesse Moss, who is always bullying her and treating her like shit, now all of a sudden he wants to hook up with her. Oh my God. Hey, Ginger, you grew a rack overnight, I see. Like, all of a sudden he's interested in her, and you see that she's like, oh, get away from you, pig. And then she's almost just like, hey, you know what? As spite, I'm going to fuck him, right? That's their whole mentality. And I love that. I think that was all so smart to do. And she's, of course, dealing with it okay at first, and then you start to lose control, right? These trains start to come off the tracks. And of course, we see as she grows a tail and she's growing these fangs, and her face is being, of course, slowly morphing and things like that. And she cannot control it. There's a scene where she's trying to have sex with him and she just rips him apart. And she's like, I don't know what came over me. I don't know. And you get this whole monologue of how she didn't want to do what she did. She didn't want to kill the guy. Didn't want to tear him apart, but she felt so limitless. She felt so strong and empowered in that moment. And she loved that feeling, right? And I love that. I love that storytelling too. It's so good. Like, that's fantastic. And we watch as Emily Perkins' character is the sister. She's trying to find a way to reverse the curse, right? She befriends this guy who, it's funny enough, if you're a Final Destination 3 fan, you have a lot of Final Destination 3 cast members in this. Chris Limchi is in this movie, who you might remember from Final Destination 3. He's the goth kid in that. He plays like the normal, pretty boy in this. And then, of course, Jesse Moss, you might remember, is one of the guys in the opening scene. He gets killed on the roller coaster. So funny enough, it's got some Final Destination alumni in here, which I thought was kind of funny. We watch as she gets to him, and they're kind of having a thing, and she's saying, listen, I need to try to make a cure. We have to try to reverse this. Otherwise, Ginger's going to kill everybody. She's going to eat everybody in the whole school. And I love, again, how this thing plays out. It has a really good pace to it. It's almost 2 hours, but it never feels long or dragged. I think there's some great sequences where Ginger, she, is in the school dance, right? It's this whole like Halloween party, and she goes and she's all formed, but they all think it's a costume. Oh, hey, Ginger, looking good. And she mauls the janitor. She kills that janitor. I thought that was like, and Emily's like, she did nothing to you. What the fuck? She's all yelling at her and things like that. Like, it's great. I love their back and forth of like, you can't fucking, you can't control this. This is something you cannot control. There's a fun scene where one of the girls that bullies her at school, she kind of confronts her at their house, and she's saying like, oh, your sister's a whore. And, this guy that you're talking to, Chris Lynch, he's just a cherry popper. He's not interested in you. And she's talking all this shit. She's calling her a cum dumpster, like all these mean things. And Ginger snaps and grabs her by the hair, and she's like, stop fucking talking shit about me and my sister. Like, I've had enough of this. And they're kind of going back and forth. And of course, it accidentally becomes a murder scene. They accidentally kill this girl, right? She hits her head on the fucking cabinet, and we have the blood and milk scene as the milk is kind of pouring. And then the parents come in and they're like, what the hell's going on? And they're like, oh, it's corn syrup, it's fine. They play it off as like it's one of their projects, which I thought was clever too. You do have some fun stuff in this too. Like, Mimi Rogers plays the mom, and she's like really, really trying to like bond with her daughters. And there's these fun, like awkward scenes where Emily Perkins, there's a body in the freezer, and she's like, Mom, don't don't open the freezer, don't open the freezer. She's like, why should I not open the freezer? And she's opened it but doesn't see the body yet, and she's like, I need you to tell me what boys want. And then she's like, oh, sure, and closes the freezer, and she gets her attention away from the dead body in the freezer. Again, very, very clever, subtle humor there, which I thought was quite funny and I don't know, colorful in a way. I thought that was really good as well. I don't know. It has so much to say again. And I think in the heart of it, its most important part of it, is the bond between two sisters, right? I think their chemistry again was undeniable. They worked so good together. These two actresses, of course, Emily Perkins and Catherine Isabel, and funny enough, they would go on to make sequels because of how popular this movie was when it came to DVD in the United States. This came into DVD in the United States in like October of 2001, and it was one of the highest grossing DVDs leading into 2002, and that's why they greenlit two sequels that were made back to back and came out both in the same year of 2004. And they would even go on to do other movies together, like Cinderella Story, another Cinderella Story, something like that. They play sisters in that. Like, it was almost like these two were just born to play sisters, and it really does work. And I love their playing off each other, right? Where Emily Perkins finally confronts Ginger and says, listen, I'm going to infect myself too, right? You're not going to go through this alone. And they both kind of cut their hands and meet, and they do this kind of blood pact. And her whole goal is to get Ginger back to the house to cure her and then cure herself. And of course, it doesn't go according to plan. And Ginger finally turns into this fucking wolf. And I liked the design. I thought it looked really good. She kind of attacks her and Chris Limchi, and Emily Perkins has to make the decision while I'm turning. Do I kill my own sister, or what do I do, right? And she has to come to the decision of, I have to kill her. And it's really good. It's really heartfelt. She kills her with her own knife, right? Catherine Isabel's playing with a knife in the beginning, and that's the knife she's ultimately killed with. And of course, the whole bond is broken, right? Like, I'll kill you to save you, and see, of course, you just die here on the floor. And that's kind of how it ends. She's laid on her belly as the wolf is kind of breathing in and out, and that's it. And like, we kind of played the really good, man. Just everything about Ginger Snaps. Like, I love this movie, especially around this time of the year. It's perfect for Halloween season, right? Because again, the Halloween parties, a lot of Halloween decorations throughout it and stuff like that. Really good over the top characters and things like that. I don't know. I always really thought this was a great movie. And John Fawcett, it's a shame he didn't go on to make too many more movies. He was mostly a TV director. Like, before this, he had directed episodes of Xena, Warrior Princess, and of course, tons of TV after this, but this was one of only 2 feature films he ever did. I think it's a great one. I think it's a really, really fresh look at this entire genre, right? And I think that it was what the genre needed at the time, because if you look at where the genre itself was very self-aware. This was a time of neo-horror movies. This was a time of slashers and things like that. And to take an old school trope like werewolf movies and to spin it on its head and make it a story about womanhood and about sisterhood and about like these two girls that, have this bond that's unbreakable, but they're also dealing with this crazy shit. Of course, A, becoming women, and B, becoming monsters and becoming these werewolves overnight. It's really good. I think there's just something about this movie that really works. And it's one that I am waiting patiently for that 4K, because when I saw it in the theater on 4K, I was like, yeah, that will be a first day purchase, because this is a gorgeous transfer. Really good stuff. I always really liked Ginger Snaps. I think it's a damn good movie that more people definitely need to watch, especially around spooky season. It just never disappoints. Let's see what y'all have to say, though. I think where were we? Together forever. Absolutely. Albert Cole said it right here. Go Canada. We stand on guard for thee. Who knew that would include werewolves? Yeah, it's a good fucking question. But yeah, no, it's a great Canada movie. Ginger becoming a werewolf of the movie is portrayed very much of what happens when people become addicts, whether it's really? Okay, so that's a different way to look at it. I never saw it that way. I never looked at it as a drug, but I guess there's tendencies of it, right? Like, there's the whole scene where she's trying to cut off her tail. She's in the bathroom, she's crying, and she's trying to cut off her tail. And Emily Perkins runs in. She's like, well, Ginger, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm cutting it off. I don't want to do this anymore. And she's crying profusely. There's the scenes where she's shaving her legs like crazy. And the mom walks in. Do you ever knock? Right? These are all things that I think of, girls go through puberty. They want their privacy. There are things going on with their bodies that they haven't had happen to them before. So it's a very foreign experience to them. I always appreciate the Canadian horror movies, even curtains. Oh, we got to love curtains. Or alcohol gives the belief that they gave the victim confidence. Okay, interesting. I never thought of it that way. Theme music is very scary. Yeah, totally. It's got a great theme. Oh man. Yeah, see, that is a movie that I always felt did this completely wrong, is Jennifer's Body. I know a lot of people say, oh, Jennifer's Body is this great cult classic now, and they herald it. Dude, no fucking way. No way. It's a bad ripoff of this movie. Like that movie to me doesn't get it, and it's so overwritten by Diablo. Fuck yourself, Cody Rhodes, that fucking idiot. The lady was a stripper that won an Oscar. Juno, fuck you. You suck. You can't write shit. Fuck that. That lady sucks. And let's make a movie called Jennifer's Body and make it fucking PG-13. You fucking idiots. I hate Jennifer's Body. It is a worthless movie. Looking forward to watching Ginger Snaps sometime. Dog Soldiers is my favorite werewolf movie and my third favorite movie of all time. Wow, that's a high praise for Dog Soldiers. I like Dog Soldiers a lot too. Ginger Snaps is, man, I highly recommend it. Like, it is just, there's nothing else like it. Even the sequels, like, I don't mind the sequels. The first sequel's okay. The second one is bizarre. It's like it goes back in time, and it's very weird, the third one, but it's not terrible either. Let's see. You guys are talking to each other. I have a lot of time in the grave. Okay. Did you know that Lucy Lawless was the voice of I did know that. Thanks again. It'll be nice to revisit. Awesome. No more deaths in the house. Yeah, no more deaths in the house. Please stop killing people in the house. So good, man. Like, I think this movie has more of a morbid sense of humor. It's still funny. Not as funny as American Werewolf in London, but it has points where you just kind of can't help but laugh, right? One of my favorite scenes in this is towards the end where she's getting Ginger to the car. She's like, come on, Ginger, we're going to get you the cure. We're going to get you the cure. And fucking Chris Lynch comes out with a shovel and just fucking clocks Catherine Isabel with it. And what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, well, she fucking attacked me. And she's just like, I know, I was tricking her to get her back in the house so we could transform her back. And he's like, oh. I love that. That was like the best, where this is kind of like the I'm a stupid fuck moment. Ginger Snaps is fucking awesome. It's one I didn't expect to like so much. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, I never thought. I was like, Ginger Snaps? Like the cookies? Like, what? Like, really? Like, and I remember when I first went to watch this, I was like, this is going to be like a chick flick. Like, I'm never going to get into this. And like, I was so fucking wrong about what I thought I was going to think. Because I think, again, the movie has a great voice. The movie is very fucking smart and like way more than meets the eye as well. So that's why I always really liked this particular movie. And again, it's just perfect for the Halloween season. It's just got some great writing and cleverness to it. I don't know. There's just something about Ginger Snaps. I never seen the second Ginger Snaps. I rarely ever hear anyone talk about it. It's nothing compared to the first movie. Like, it's just not. But it's worth watching. I think it's not a terrible movie. Yeah, the third movie is the prequel. Yeah, it's a weird one. What a cult classic. Truly a movie of its time. I feel like it didn't even have a theatrical release. Well, what was crazy, Merns, and you're not entirely wrong, in Canada, it had a very limited theatrical release. Now, if you look, you can find online that it was the 5th highest grossing movie in Canada the year it came out. The only problem is it only made about $500,000 in the fucking movie theater. It was a very limited release because, listen, this was a low budget movie. This was a movie where at the time, other than Mimi Rogers, I don't know if any of these actresses were really known. Like, Emily Perkins had done stuff, but she wasn't a famous actress. Catherine Isabel became more famous after this. Like, it was one of these things where you didn't have too many selling factors and the movie wasn't like hyped up. It wasn't until Lionsgate got the rights and released the DVD and Artisan got their hands in the picture in the cookie jar here. And that's when all of a sudden they put out the DVD and it sold like crazy. It was one of the highest selling DVDs of the time because it was just such a good fucking cult movie. Such a good like midnight movie to watch with friends. Really good stuff. I always see Scream Factory Ginger Snaps Blu-ray going for cheap price. Yeah, I mean, I will say, like I told you, that there is a 4K that's been done. It's just a matter of when that comes out. So I'm going to hit the brakes on that because I want that in 4K. Because I tell you, man, we saw this in the theater. It was me, Nick Reap, and Greg. And we were watching this. And Greg had never seen it before. When it ended, he looked at me. He's like, that was fucking fantastic. Like, it just I was like, that was probably my reaction when I first saw this movie. And it looked like a spectacle in the theater with this 4K. Like, I was like, this is exactly the way this movie should be seen. Jennifer's Body is fucking terrible. Ginger Snaps is fucking fantastic. It really is. it's apples and oranges. It's funny because I know a lot of people, they say, Jennifer's Body is this big cult movie and it has almost all this good stuff to say about women. It's like, yeah, like I think that movie was done so wrong though. Like to me, it's just so poorly done. Whereas this is, I think, perfectly done all around. Like it's just so much to say and to do. And the actresses are so much better. Like I'll take Catherine Isabel and Emily Perkins over Amanda Seyfried and Megan Fox 8 days of the week, 25, 8, dude. Like there's no question in my mind. It's not even close. Like you feel their sisterhood here. In Jennifer's Body, it's like, oh, we did a lesbian kiss scene. Oh my God. You think guys will like it's doled down to the stupidest, lowest common denominator of a fucking audience where it's like, oh, let's dumb it down. Let's overwrite it. And then just, okay, we're going to make a movie called Jennifer's Body PG-13. We'll rip off the Student Bodies poster. Oh my God, that is a horrible movie. There are some people that will try to tell you it's a cult classic. No, you want to talk about the cult classic? It's right here. It's sitting right next to me right now. It's on the shirt, if you will. This is the cult classic, not Jennifer's Body. This movie ran so Jennifer's Body could fall flat on its fucking face. Yes, John, 100% Jennifer's Body is a terrible movie. Yeah, it's funny, man, because like all I hear now is that, oh, you didn't get it. You didn't get it. You didn't get Jennifer's Body. Like everyone and their fucking mother telling me that. I'm like, buddy, not even fucking like, do I disagree of the whole, oh, you didn't get it argument? I don't even care if I got it better than anyone. It sucks. That's the problem. It sucks. It's just nothing good about it. There's not a good death scene in it. There's nothing good to say in it. I don't know. I don't like that movie, man. Jennifer's Turd, clunker. Jennifer's Turd. That's a great one. The shovel scene is how you subvert expectations. Yes, exactly. I just fucking thought that was so funny. Like, come on, Ginger. They're getting her to the car and this fucking bing, like just packs her in the face. Susie loves Jennifer's Body. So sorry. I'm sorry. The Jennifer's Body hate. But yeah, I never liked that movie. I don't know what it is. It's just never hit for me. I don't know. Maybe it will become a cult classic in my mind someday, but I think hell would have to freeze over first. I'm not big on Ginger or Jennifer, but I'd pick Ginger Snaps any day of the week over Jennifer's Body. Yeah, I'm with you. Like I'm completely fucking with you. Like I don't even think it's close. Like I don't know, man. Jennifer's Body is the cheap fucking knockoff. It really is. Like, and okay, let me even explain to why I think it's such a different scenario here. This is, of course, telling the story of two sisters that they have the unbreakable bond and they will die together, right? They'll die for each other. They have that blood pact and they stand by each other through all of this. Whereas Jennifer's Body, it's more so about the jealousy, right, of Amanda Seyfried. She's a nerd because we put glasses on her. Oh, Amanda Seyfried, giant fucking yit. And all of a sudden, because we put a pair of fucking glasses on her, she's this, she's Jan Brady. Get the fuck out of here. It's Amanda Seyfried. Get the fuck. And then Jennifer fucking, Megan Fox, she's seducing all these people. She never takes her fucking clothes off, dude. No, hell no. Hell fucking no. Screw Ginger and Jennifer. Watch Down by the Bay. Well, thank you so much for that, Missy. I appreciate that. Down by the Bay is not as good as Ginger Snaps. I loved the short that I did. No. Yeah, I didn't hate Jennifer's Body, but Ginger Snaps did it better. I sort of hate, like, Jennifer's Body is too PG-13. Like, there's just not enough going on in that movie, too. Like, this is R-rated. There's a ton of gore, people getting mutilated, people getting torn apart, good practical makeup effects. Like, I think this movie does the little things right, too. Like, I always heard the writer say, this is something that a traditional horror fan will love, and someone that is looking for more that meets the eye in a horror movie, they will love this too. Like it's a good, like it's good for everyone. It's really well-rounded. Watch it again, Grande. All right, hey, you know what? 'Tis the season. I'll have to watch it again. Love Megan Fox. I don't know. As an actress, not the greatest actress in the world, but I don't know. At the time, she was gorgeous, and at the time, it was like, I remember talking to kids at the bus stop about Jennifer's Body, being like, oh my God, you see the trailer? And then I saw the movie. I was like, fuck this shit, man. Ginger Snaps. Put the Ginger Snaps on. Ginger Snaps is a great movie. I highly recommend it to anyone who has not seen it. It is, to me, the best werewolf movie. I would go that far. Like it's Werewolf in London and the Wolfman are my top three. werewolf movies, and I just don't think any of them miss. Like, to me, it's like, you want the best 3 werewolf movies, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. And especially around spooky season, they all work. They're all good. They all have humor in a certain way, and they all have this great energy to them. And to me, are the best 3 werewolf movies. And I would totally, like, I'm open to doing more werewolf movies down the road. So, you guys let me know, and I totally would do more. I saw Late Phases was one that was mentioned. I saw, Dog Soldiers, a lot of ones that were mentioned. So I would be open to doing more of these. I love the vampire specials. I love doing these like offbeat, specials, and this was one that was fun to do too. So everybody, I appreciate the support tonight. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people were here in the chat, and I do appreciate it as always. Next week, we're going to be having the legendary Matt Landrum on Grande's Graveyard as we discuss and rate and review the Phantasm series. Yes, Phantasm next week on Grande's Graveyard. Very excited for that. Me and Matt Landrum talking, shooting the breeze. He's a great guy. We've, of course, been on some shows together. We had him on last December for a roundtable. And we, of course, I know he's visited the Dunsmuir Mansion and all this stuff. So he's going to have a lot of great insight and stuff like that on Phantasm. I'm very excited to have a one-on-one with him. It's going to be a good time. Great show as always. Thank you so much. Mateo throwing me one of these. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. So very excited for Phantasm. And of course, just a brief preview for the Halloween special. We're going to be having some scary stories to tell in the dark, but read by some other people. I won't disclose who, but we're going to have some fun, scary stories to tell in the dark that we're going to be telling. We'll do some tier makers. We'll have some candy. We'll be dressing up. That's going to be a fun show to wrap out the month. And of course, I am also already working on the November schedule, so I'm very excited for that. Are you watching Guts and Glory, the Greg Nicotero reality series on Shudder? Pretty cheesy so far. No, I haven't honestly heard of it. I would be open to watching it, though. So, yeah, totally. I guess it was pretty cheesy so far. So should I skip it? Would I not want to waste my time? This was awesome. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate that. Everybody, thank you so much. If you are catching the replay, comment down below. Let me know what your favorite werewolf movies are or how you'd rate these 3 on a 1 to 10. I'm always down to hear that stuff. This was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you guys watching so much. So, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and stay away from the full moon. Stay safe. I warned you not to go out tonight. And everybody, have a safe, happy, healthy weekend. Cheers only on the Graveyard. 2 Sweet Peace, and we'll catch you next time, everybody. Phantasm next week, only on the Graveyard. Good night, everybody.